think it's time we finish this room off. Yes, Colin. This is a model of the secret underground garage I'm building in front of my house for my DeLorean to rise up out of the ground. It connects to my secret tunnel, which goes along the side of the house, up into the house and up into the workshop, and will eventually come down the garden into the underground bunker. Now, so far, we have built half of the room down to here, a little bit of the floor, but in this video, we are going to get this room finished. Everything complete, including this little rim wall here where the car comes out. So, subscribe. This is an epic project unlike you have ever seen before on the internet. Right, get on with it, Colin. If you want to support this channel and project even more, there's some new Furze logos, tees and hoodies available. Made from super durable heavyweight cotton. But what I'm most proud of is ever since I was 15, in my pocket I've had a 10mm spanner on my keyring. And now you can get a Furze 10mm spanner. And this is not just in a packet, this is actually stamped and marked up with Furze. Press your mates, you get yourself a Furze 10mm spanner. And if you buy a hoodie and a tee, you'll get one free. So, with the whole 98% dug and a nice concrete floor laid, we're back on building the walls. But this is the bit where the car comes out. So rather than having a roof over the top of it, this is just going to be a big, straight wall right up to the surface. And, as with the rest of the room, there are steel beams going vertically up the wall. But as this is a bigger span, I've got 2 steel beams to deal with at the same time. And this adds another set of problems. Okay, got a strange moment here. We've got 3 RSJs that can't be fixed into position until they're all into position, which of course is kind of tricky because then I've got 2 loose ones and a big loose one on the top. I don't like that situation. Now then, I've devised a plan because I've not got the JCB here at the minute. I've got a winch clamped up somewhere up there, and then the cable comes down along some clamps and then back up, so hopefully we can winch it up level. Is it gonna work? So do I. And now it's my turn. Colin, I think that works of treat, and you have unintendedly done something actually semi-safely. Right, get it clamped up quick. Yes. With the 3 steel beams in place, it's time to get them level, get them parallel with the house, and set up where I think they need to be. And then do the same on the other side. Okay, we've got 2 sets of RSJs now, either side of the room. Now, the thing with these is I had to make sure that they were dead parallel, because I mean the room's pretty good, it's pretty square, but because this is where the car lift's coming out, I wanted to make sure that they were absolutely dead in line with each other, dead level, so we haven't got any of this going on or any wonkiness like that, so when the car lift sits in the room, it doesn't look like it's all twisted, if you know what I mean. So that's good. Now we just need to put the little pads on the top and then put a big long RSJ going across the top like we have done here, only you'll see it there. So I started setting the plates up. Now, does anybody else have this issue? These are the magnets that you can't get off the bit of steel when you want to, but they won't hold the bit you want to hold. Strong as anything trying to get them off there. Put them on here, bit of steel, no. Anyway, indecisive magnets aside, got the pads welded up, time to get the big steel beam across. I don't know why I'm doing that. Nor do I. And I'm actually you. Then with the steel beam carefully lowered into position, my normal job would be to weld it to the steel pads and that would be it. But when Tom digs out the last 2% of this room, that beam's going to be in the way. So this time I just put some temporary bolts in it so we can shift it at a later date. I then check everything again to see if it's still level and straight and then start putting the walls up. Then with the walls all up and looking fantastic, it's time to pour some concrete down the back. But wait, Colin has made a discovery. Oh, internet, what are we going to do? We've put the foam board up because we've got concrete coming, and I'm looking down here when we've got a bit of overspill. I don't know if you can see that. I'm going to have to digitally zoom in. Down there, a bit of foam board. I know what you're thinking, Colin, that's not much. Why are you getting aggravated? But it does worry me. We've done all this effort to get this beautiful 300mm plus thick concrete wall, and then I've gone and put a load of foam shavings at the bottom of it, which will perfectly stop the seal between the two. So, to get this out, I've devised a wonderful system of extendo vacuum. Put that on there. I'm going to do this one-handed. Bear with. Might have to get some tape. Wait there. We've got that taped on. Right, and Simo, fire it up. Come on, mate. Up! Oh, yeah. There we go. There. Right, back down we go. So, foam removed, it's time to fill it with concrete. Righty-ho, 2 walls filled up with concrete to this level. Now, normally we'd stick a roof on over here, but of course this is where the car is going up, so that's not going to happen. So this wall needs to continue all the way up to this steel beam, which I've been calling an RSJ, reinforced steel joist or something like that, or rolled steel joist, I don't know. But of course Google Translate turns that to Irish J, which is why some people don't know what I'm going on about. Well, that looks lovely, Colin. Now, while we fill the back of this with concrete, who's paying for all this? Don't just start 2025 with a meal out, start it with internet security. And Surfshark, the sponsor of this video, gives exactly that. Surfshark is a VPN that protects you while you're surfing the web. And not just you, but your whole family, as there is unlimited amount of devices from the one account. It's the best VPN you can get, as an alternative ID email generator is included, so when you buy stuff, you're not getting marketing emails forevermore. It has built-in data breach alert to notify you the moment your email, ID, credit card or other personal data gets leaked online. It's got malware protection to protect your devices from viruses, ads and trackers with Surfshark's antivirus and ad blocker. And it's got top-level encryption. Browse the internet confidently with the strongest encryption algorithms available today and reliable VPN protocols. And with servers in 100 locations, you stream and access the internet of different countries, allowing you to watch shows not available in your location or book trips, taxis, etc. at local rates. So, don't get in a mess in a restaurant and don't get in a mess online by visiting surfshark.com/Colin and get 4 extra months of Surfshark for free. Okay, back to the garage where Tom's arrived to dig out the last little bit of the hole.
Make your mind up quick. I need direction or a holiday away from you. I still believe you're taking me for a ride. I still believe you're gonna let me drive. This is what you start.
Now, as this was the last dig, we had this brilliant idea that we'd suspend the digger in mid-air, take a picture of me sat in it. But we got carried away and lifted me the whole way out.
Not what I had in mind.
Straight up. That's alright, go on, boom it back. Straight up.
I need a reaction, not another look this fast.
And of course, with this being the last dig, that's Tom Lamb's job done.
See you later.
Thank you so much.
The last invoice.
And the last time we'll need the muckaway service. Thanks to the guys at CESL and Chris, the driver, they've been very accommodating on what is an unconventional site.
Yay!
And of course, like with all previous digs, there's bits of stuff to clean out in the corners, there's rebar to clean up, rebar to straighten out, and chimble off all the bits of rock that Tom couldn't quite get at with the digger.
Oh, beautiful.
And then with us edging closer to winter, the weather changed. We've had snow and we've had a lot of rain. Don't worry, Rick's on the case.
Although he's a bit of a contradiction today with a high-vis jacket, camouflage trousers. I mean, does he want to be seen or not?
Now, you can't sweep the water off the top without it leaking. So we thought, leaking a bit, leaking a lot, it's all going to get wet. Let's just brush it all in. Then just sweep it up and blow it onto the rock and it just drains away. Now, another anomaly of being underground is how warm it gets. And you could see when we lifted the lid off just how warm it actually was down there.
So hot in here. Look at that.
Anyway, Colin, never mind looking at steam, you've got a floor to construct. So I get my plastic down, get my rebar mesh in, and build myself a frame of which to concrete round. Then I was again reminded I lived in the UK and it absolutely chucked it down. Now, water on the top, as we've established, isn't really a problem. But this time, it had washed a massive lump of clay off the top of the hole, and this had fell down and completely smashed and flattened the wonderful steel frame we've put up. I was not happy about this. In fact, I was totally gutted. Things like this really set things back on this project. Now, cleaning this mess up is quite tricky because you can't just shovel it up with a spade because it's basically rammed itself in all the rebar. So it's a case of getting on your hands and knees, picking it all out and putting it in buckets separately. Not what I wanted to do this morning. Now, with as much of the dirt picked out as possible, I gave it a bit of a jet wash to kind of finally clean it, and then I could assess the damage. It wasn't good. It was completely mangled. However, I thought it would still be quicker to try and straighten it out than what it would be to replace it all. And the fact I didn't have any more steel. So, with 2 wooden chocks, a nice straight bit of thick steel, and every clamp I own, we got it straight again. Pretty pleased with that, really. I mean, look at it. Gently coming up, doing a bit too much, let it down, boom. Very nice, Colin. It's like car body repair work, really. Oh, look at that. So, getting back to the fabrication, there is one thing that this room clearly needs, and everyone has been commenting on it. You need a sump pump, Colin. So I've fabricated this little box, which will be a low point in the room, which a sump pump can sit in. But additionally to that, it's got a little drain outlet, which goes into one of the cracks in the rocks, which we can use, if we want to just get rid of a lot of water. As you can see, we've poured some water down here. It flows away very nicely. Lovely job. But essentially, there'll be a pump sat inside this with a float switch, and it will pump the water out that white pipe up to the surface. Then with the vertical rebars tied into the floor rebar, I'd say that's job done for the floor.
Okay, we're finally ready for some concrete. So glad to get this bit down, because this is arguably the worst part of doing the whole thing, is stepping and working on the rebar. So once we get that covered, very good. So, get some concrete in there. Who have we got for that? Of course,
it's Mr. Chris Bibby. Only this time, he'd got back from his holiday from Turkey, got himself some new hair, hadn't he, boy? Then, with the concrete poured and fully set, we decided to remove all the loose rock from the rock face, because once we've built our walls up, if anything falls down the back, it's a lot harder to clear. And then Freddie turned up and told us we were doing it all wrong.
No, that one on there. Put a bit of fucking elbow grease in it. You're not stroking it, innit? Stroking a woman. Come on. That one, Rick. Look, that bit of stone in there.
Where?
This one in there. That's going to come off.
Then chimble off the sticky out bit of house footings, lay the top damp-proof membrane, and then voila! Go on, go on! Come on, boys, get that rebar wall up.
Okay, I feel like we're finally getting somewhere now, because every time we do something, it's like the last time we need to do it. Pouring concrete in the floor, the last time we need to do that. Sticking rebar up the walls, the last time we need to do that. So it feels like the list is getting a little bit shorter. Right, the last time now, we need to put the RSJs up the wall. Okay, last RSJ is up. Now, finally, finish this back wall, Mr. Furze.
Now, the first concrete pour behind any of the walls, we only go up halfway to stop it stressing the wall and bowing it. But on this occasion, while we were watching it flow round, I saw something rather alarming. Now, I don't know if you can remember, on the rock face, which is just behind this wall, there is a massive crack and a massive gouge here. And normally I get bits of clay and I fill them in, stuff rocks in it, but Colin's forgotten to do that this time and the concrete is disappearing down that crack. Apologise, I don't have any footage of this. So, what this means is I've got to crawl down the back of the rebar, along the concrete, till I find the crack, stuff something in it, so we don't lose any more concrete down there on the next pour. Crack inspection. Claustrophobic, don't like this. Yep, if you're claustrophobic, you're not going to like this bit.
Oh, here we go. Gotta get down there. Right.
So what I'm looking for now is where all the concrete was going.
Oh, bloody hell, it's right up there. Here we are. There it all went, look. All went shooting down here. If you get us a better... Wait a minute. That's nearly filled it up, to be fair. I think if we'd have just left it... But you know, when you see concrete disappearing down a hole, all I can think of is 25 quid, 25 quid, 25 quid. I'm going to put you in there as well. Get in there. Jono foam will do. What, shadow foam in the hole? Oh, he's going to love that, isn't he? Right, go on then, Rick. Oh, look at that. I got it. There we go. Worst video footage ever. Saying that. Right, gonna try and get back there.
So, the hole filled in, just got to try and get out now.
Yes! Mission accomplished.
Well done, Colin, you didn't get crushed with limestone. Right, let's fill the rest of the wall up with concrete. Now here is a perfect example how vibrating the wall settles the concrete and gets rid of all the air. Okay, we've got concrete up to the top of the wall, but Colin, why does the wall only go up that high? Well, basically, it's Christmas Eve today, and then in the UK, most things are going to shut down for around about 2 weeks. I won't be able to get any concrete, and I can't get any steel. And I thought if I build it up to the full height and put the roof on, I might not even get time to put any concrete down the back. And of course, over those 2 weeks, if we have any massive rainstorms, a load of mud drops down the back, I'm not going to be able to get it out very easy. No. So, first job in the new year is to continue this wall up to the height, put the roof on, and then finish off the last bit of concrete. Roll on next year. Here we go. New year, same weather. Well, possibly worse. Anyway, stop complaining, Colin, that's hardly snow. So, we took off the 45-degree supports which hold the wall back while it's being concreted and then swept up all the water. And this was our first excellent test of our new drainage system. I think it passed with flying colours. So, to build the rest of the wall, of course, we're going to need some more sheets. And Colin, in his wisdom, has decided that it's more hassle to go and get the telehandler. So instead, we've set up this kind of safe winch system off the trestles. And well, it did work. And nobody got injured. So I suppose that's a win, really, isn't it? Come on. The winch also come in handy for lifting the sheets into place. Now, you may have noticed I've stepped the wall back here, and I'll explain what that is later, but this was a right pain to weld. And then finally, it's onto the roof, and this winch and trestle system is just proving to be a stroke of genius. Who needs heavy lifting JCBs when you've got a small winch and 2 trestles and some 5x2? I mean, what were we thinking?
Okay, now we're getting somewhere. We've got an end wall and we've got a roof. But what we've also got is, of course, this is a garage. It's going to have a car in it. Cars do emit fumes, you know, petrol, vapours, and everything can sink on the floor. Now, I've got my high-level vent up there, but I've installed a low-level vent right down in the corner there. It goes up the back and then kind of dog legs out to the boundary, comes out the fence post. So basically, the first fence post of my divided fence is my vent. Right. The last job we've got to do in the main construction of the room is the little wall bit that comes up here. But before we do that, we've got to put an extra RSJ right across there. Hard to believe that this is my front garden.
Oh look people, we have excelled ourselves. I think we're very pleased with it, aren't we? We're pleased with it, aren't we, Rick?
Got paid.
Got paid!
So with my fantastic non-wife approved window winch setup, I'm now channeling my inner Egyptian again to try and move the RSJs out without heavy equipment. All you need is a set of sack wheels, look. Well, kind of. Then clean it up and window winch it in. Now, I know it looks like I've got the measurements wrong for this, having to use such force and ingenuity to get this thing in place, but actually turns out I've got the measurements spot on.
Oh, you know, you mean it was a dead perfect measure?
Yes, Colin will put that down as another fluke. Now, with it in position, welded up, and a little back plate down the back, it was time to do the other side. And this time, I made it a little bit shorter, and it slotted straight in.
Oh, look, it's gone right in, look. They are, Simo.
Oh, and doesn't it look lovely? Now, before I can build the car entrance walls, I need to cut the roof back, because I shuttered it. I overshooted them because I wasn't sure exactly where they needed to go to. So, I put a little strip of metal down and I got the plasma cutter out and we're cutting them back. Then, using the same template I used to make the roof beams, we then cut out some sheets for the wall and lowered them down. Now, there was a slight discrepancy which I maybe could have made up with weld, but why make life harder? So I used the roof as a scribe and cut it off, and then it fitted perfectly. Look at that, Colin. Lovely. Then I knocked up some jigs to make sure when you pull the sheet forward, it goes in the right place, and it's a case of tacking it all along and doing the rest of it.
Face to face with your own fate. Collapsing waves, bones vibrate, soul starts to shake. Now's the time to take that leap of faith.
Okay, got walls all around the outside, very nice, but these little gaps here have got to be filled in. So I've got these plates, got to slot them up there, weld them in. The only thing we need to consider is a little hole in here, because once this is all welded up, the other side of it, eventually we have concrete, but until then I've effectively made like a steel swimming pool, so the whole thing could fill up with water above the roof. That ain't no good. So I've got these little holes which will have a little drain, similar to basically what's happened before, because as you can see down here, look, there is like a little plate with a waste attachment in, so I'm just continuing that on. I'm doing it slightly smaller, so once it is in and I take it out, once it's full of concrete, the bit of steel box section that goes in the corner covers it up. Lovely!
That's how I like to roll. I'm a diva in a cloak of gold.
Then for the next stage, it's time to take off the whole cover and expose the complete hole where the car goes in.
This is progress. The next bit of metal we put on is a bit that's going to be on the surface. Right, what we need to do is put a plumb line across from the house to the path to get a level of basically where the lid's going to be. It is going to slope down to the house, but that's not going to matter. So we need to know what that line is, and then we can take a little bit off that for like the gutter system, which will be round it, and then we can plasma cut that all the way around. Oh, we're finally at the surface!
So, with the line attached to the house where the top of the drive will be, and to the surface of the path, we then deduct the appropriate amount, and then stick a strip along which we can run the plasma along. We can cut this wall down to the appropriate height.
That's plasma cut that down to there. And that is where the start of our gutter system is going to be. And now we've got this line, we know what we can do right the way across there, which will then give us it from there up to there. So, fixed point, Add a little bit of steel across here. Do the same on the other side and then join the two up. I've got it.
Now this is looking fantastic, Furze, but what is this gutter system and how is this lid going to work?
Now, I've not spoken too much about how this whole car ramp lift system is going to work, but essentially what the car sits on in the room and the lid which covers the hole, and some people thought it was just going to be a hole, I don't know, they will talk to each other. So when they come up together. Car drives off or car drives on, lowers back down, lid comes back down with it. So this lid obviously needs to be sealed, needs to stop any water that goes on the drive or the top of it, anything like that. Can't get round the cracks around the outside, because if that goes in the room, that is bad news. Now, some people spoke of like Thunderbirds things, where like palm trees, it would open up, or the lid like slides into the drive. That is going to be a nightmare for sealing and obviously the whole mechanisms and stuff. So we're going simple. They're going to talk to each other just like that. So round the outside of our hole of what we've got, we need like a gutter and a catchment for anything that might get down the outside. And I'm doing that with angle iron. Now they're going to be two separate sizes. We've got 90 by 90 and 100 by 100. So the 90 by 90 sits on top of the wall that we've just made. Dead in the middle, this is the wall coming up. There's a bit of box section that will go on it. Plates across there, obviously, imagine that sits on top of the wall, beautiful. And then the 100 by 100 will sit here like this, like so. Then that will get welded all the way along there, creating like this little channel which will go all around the perimeter of where the car comes out. Any water that comes off the drive can flow down and go in there, and any water that flows off the lid will also float and come down there. But how is it going to seal, Colin? Well, you can imagine this is a cutaway of the lid. This will be a rubber seal just on the underside here. There'll be box section, obviously, because this is going to be a massive frame. But essentially that will come down and then sit on there. And then this is why the two bits of angle iron are different size. The 100 by 100 obviously sticks up a little bit higher than the 90 by 90. And it gives us that nice little gap. And then it will come down and just sit there. And then if this channel ever gets full of water because it's blocked for some reason, it will come up, hit that seal, and it still won't be able to pour over into the room. So that is how I'm going to seal the lid and how I'm going to do the perimeter. Oh, don't you fall off. Beautiful. Right. Go and do it.
So, now you know what I'm doing, it's time to get these bits of angle iron cut. And they are long, which involves turning them round in the street. Now then, Colin, you've got your measurement right, haven't you?
Back a bit to you. Well, how much? Oh, we've cut that wrong then, didn't we? How the hell have we got that so wrong? Well, that's not right. I don't understand why that's wrong. That's the corner. We've done that off there. That should be right. Oh, wait a minute, I can see the problem. There we go, it's back in line now.
So, I took this as a warning that I should make some little spacey bracket things and only tack weld this on for the time being.
Nice little tack there, very nice, Colin.
Then, with both sides on, I thought I'd better check if both sides were level going across.
I can do.
Oh dear.
Rick.
Oh, Rick, come on, move your finger out of the way. That's better. Then, once happy with everything, we can add the outer upper piece of angle.
In she goes.
And with the corner seams fully welded, grind them nice and flat and nice and smooth. Now, before I weld it up fully, I thought it was a good idea to put the upright beams in to make sure that the wall is up and level and there's no twists in it. Because as we know, welding and twisting go together.
Okay, welding my gutters up. Now, this is proper thick steel, and when you weld it, it wants to move and it wants to twist. Just when I did these bits of box section here, it kind of made these little bits like curl over a little bit. So, what I've been doing, I've been like ramming these little bit plates here. That's to stop it like curling together. I've clamped this bar right across to the other side. That's to stop this bit from twisting up as much as possible. And then as I've been going along, I've been checking it for square, that we're not getting a banana or anything, because obviously if it does get all messy and twisted, it's going to be a bit of a pain to sort out afterwards, because it's thick steel and it's welded in all sorts of direction. It'll just worst case scenario. So that's what I'm doing. But I've only got halfway down one side. I've got a lot to do.
that's got the perimeter done, but more importantly, where is the water going to go, Colin, which falls into it? Well, we've got this 2-inch bit of pipe here. This goes all the way down the wall, along the floor, and then into a crack in the rock. Now, that is going to be its like first point of call, so any water that gets in here wants to go down there. I might put a secondary outlet a little bit higher up, so if that blocks up, it's still got somewhere to go and go out to the main soakaway in the back garden. Now then, what we got? We've got this little bit of angle line here, which will continue on from there. Now, initially, we was going to get a little bit of pipe, shove it up into the bottom and straight in there. But as you can see, because the wall comes halfway along it, because this sticks in the room 40 mil, you can't get that there. It won't sit in. It will be half and half over the thing. So, to solve this problem, we are going to make a little box in here, which will kind of act like a bit of a trap, and also any muck and stuff which gets down here will then flow into that box, and then there can be like a little bit of a spigot up here, and then it can collect it all, and it won't necessarily go down and block that up. But there's some other things to consider. There is going to be a 200 mil perimeter of steel all the way around the drive, which will match like the perimeter around this and basically just give it a bit of an industrial look, I like. And then in front of that, there's going to be another drain, like the main driveway drain. That's going to sit just like that there. Now, all right, can you see that? Yeah, you can see that. Now then, this obviously poses problems that if we want to have a little box there, we need to be able to get our hands in it to clear it out when it does get full of muck. So, we're going to make a bit of a window. I'm going to move that out of the way so you can see it. Essentially, the walls of our box, let me put this up here a minute. There's going to be one in there. Right, that'll sit there. There will be a back on it with a little hole outlet going to our pipe. And then on the other bit, because obviously there's a bit of angle line that comes out this way, that's going to have a little slot out of it. That'll sit there. There will be a slot out of this front bit as well. I've not cut it out of this bit, because you know that bit earlier when I demonstrated how the lid was going to work. I've not filmed that yet, and I need this bit of metal for it. And then we'll be able to get in, get your hand in, and clear it out. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to make a little boxy thing. Very nice.
With this finished, we then give it a little bit of paint, and then of course we ran some water down it to test it. And with the drive sloping back towards the house, this aided the water in flowing back to where our box gutter was.
I'd say that's working a treat. And then when we have the lid, that'll come down, sit on there nicely, nice and level. Beautiful. Now, with that complete, there's just one more job left to do. Finish the floor off, have a good old tidy up, and then boom, we've got a room!
We've got surface rust on the floor, we've got a little bit on the walls, and we've got some on the ceiling. There's just a lot to clean. Now this floor, as well as cleaning, also needs levelling, as some of the concrete was put in a little bit lower than the beams.
Okay, we've PVA'd the concrete because we're going to put some self-levelling floor compound down in between the little bits of squares, basically, because the concrete is slightly lower. And then that will build it up, be nice and level, and then we put the steel plates and weld it to the frame down. It'll all be nice and solid. More solid. More. I think we're going to need another bag, Rick. One bag's just not going to do it.
I'm laughing about it now, but I generally looked and thought, yeah, I've got a bag of self-levelling compound. That'll do it all. One bag, Colin. More like 12, you mean? Then with the floor nice and level, it's just a case of cleaning up the steel ready for the sheets to be welded onto. Now, unfortunately this time, we can't lower full 4mm sheets down with our little winch system. They're too heavy. We do need the telehandler for this. My wonderful magnet I've got.
Right, that's got all the sheets down. We've tacked them all the way along the outside. We're going to plug weld them in the middle. We've also tacked them, so hopefully it won't ripple and buckle when we weld them up. And there we go, we've got a steel floor. All we need now is a little bit of paint, tidy the tunnel, put the carpet back down, and we've got a room.
Finally, the tunnel is clean and leads to what is going to be an absolutely epic space.
I am so excited about this. It is hard to believe that this is under my front garden, especially with what it looks like at the moment. This generally is a real life TARDIS.
The contrast in size of the house and size of the garage is now very stark. When this whole project's finished, there'll be more square footage underground than what there will be above ground. This upper step has been temporarily carpeted, which gives a nice clean flow into the tunnel. Eventually, Boxo, the creators of my spanners, are putting tool drawers along here and a workbench. And the upper step exists because the car lift mechanism will lower down into it, and eventually the floor will all be one level.
So what's this little recess for then, Colin? Well, before all this was made, I had the rock face 3D scanned, and then this very section is then going to be 3D printed, moulded or created somehow, and then slotted into this recess. So it will look like a window into the actual rock. Now, to get an idea of what that's going to look like, I've had the guys down the road print a photograph of that on Foamex so we can put it in and have a look.
So you can now get an idea of what this is going to look like. Now, I've stuck a light up in the recess there, so it will downlight it, and of course, once it's three-dimensional, that will cast shadows and stuff on it, so it will look really, really cool. And of course, by not having a hole to the actual rock, there's less risk of leakage. Whatever we covered it up with could have condensated up, and then of course, you've got the structural issues of having to reinforce that above it as well. So I think this is the better idea.
Now, I really feel like I've turned the corner with this project now because it is clean down here, it is tidy, and then until we start building the car lift, everything else is above ground. And that is a puzzle of rebar, concrete, and drainage. That will be the next video, so make sure you don't miss that. Now, of course, thank you for supporting this project. I'm sorry the videos are taking so long to come out, but of course, this is a massive undertaking for just a few people to do that don't really know what they're doing. Now, of course, thanks to Surfshark for sponsoring this video, and thanks to Newark Steel for sponsoring all the steel. That is a huge help. And of course, if you want to get your spanners, tees and hoodies, they're at the shop and the link in the description. So, subscribe, because if you're not, why not? What more can a YouTuber do? Right, see you in the next video.